All right, what's up, everybody? We are live with the Chesapeake Real Masters podcast, and somebody very important is missing. Last I talked to Mr. Evan Morsel, he said he was going to go fishing with his son. I guess they're on him, they're catching him. Evan is ghost. I don't know where Evan is. He'll probably join us later. But tonight we're going to make some exciting announcements as far as our new online tournament series that we're going to start in June. And we're looking for some input from our anglers and how we want to craft it, make it fun. But the big news tonight is we're going to be talking to some of the winners from last weekend's Potomac event. We're going to be talking to Chrisovergis, who finished second place. Hopefully we can get a hold of Nick Maiers, who finished third. And we're going to be talking to Charlie Russler, who won the whole event. And they're going to be sharing some secrets and some tips. And I think it's going to be exciting. So, but first I want to mention our sponsors. Big Bass USA is our Angler of the Year sponsor. They are going to be paying out $1,000 to the Angler of the Year. And all you need is 4 events to get in. Tonight, we're going to announce some of the ways that you can get in instead of just fishing 4 events. We're going to get into that a little bit. Some of the other ways you can sneak into that tournament. O-Line Baits. They're sponsoring all the winners of all of our tournaments. You get a free bag of baits with O-Line Baits, custom bag of baits, whatever you want, whatever you dreamed of. My man Justin Talbot can make it. And I use them. I love them. They catch fish. Mech Baits, that's our custom crankbait sponsor. All the finishers who finish second and third in our events get a free crankbait from Mech Baits, courtesy of Josh Evans, who's the owner of Mech Baits. And I haven't had the pleasure of fishing with them yet because we've got so much grass out on the Potomac in the Chesapeake Bay. But I do hope to get out there and throw a couple of those baits around. I do have some. Our last sponsor is Kayak Fishing with Christ Outdoors. They are sponsoring our Big Bass of the Year award, and that's $500. And the angler that's currently leading, he dethroned the previous angler, which was Josh Evans. Josh, I think, had 20.5 inches. Well, Nick Maiers came in last weekend with 21 inches. So he's in a hot seat now. Everybody's got the bullseye on his back, and they're trying to beat that 21-inch mark. And I think we got a special guest tonight. I think we got a special guest.
Oh, big guy.
Is this a special guest tonight?
All right. How's it going, Ross?
It's going. I heard the word on the street is you were on them. That's why you were kind of.
Oh man, we were on them. They were on us. The mosquitoes being those who were on us. It wasn't a bad day. Wasn't a bad day. Yeah, man.
Well, we just went over the sponsors. We got Kyle on the hot seat. He's ready to go.
Okay.
You want to get into this?
Chrisovergis. That's what I'm here for. That's what we do. But I'm honestly, I have to say that I'm a little distracted right now. I'm very distracted by all that hardware behind you. I mean, we're talking to someone who may be wearing the belt at the end of the season. So, Kyle's he's been in the money. He's been close to, getting a first place plaque on multiple occasions. How's it going, Kyle?
Going pretty good. Last weekend was pretty awesome. Obviously, getting second was really cool. I mean, this is only my first year doing this tournament thing, and to have a third of the first tournament and then get a second is pretty awesome. Still pretty stoked on it.
That's awesome. I mean, so I guess my question is more about the journey so far. What's it been like fishing with CRM this season? I know this is your first trail, but what's your experience been like?
I mean, it's been awesome. Obviously, both you and Carl are doing an amazing job, putting all this together, especially with, as fast as you guys did it. It seemed like you did it all very fast, and everything's going fantastic. All of the people I've met and everyone so far is really awesome. I think we have a really awesome group of like anglers and members so far, and it's cool to like meet everybody and to actually like compete against some of these guys who have won like really big events. So it's pretty awesome to see what you guys are doing and to be a part of it.
Sweet. Well, that means a lot. We're always about feedback and giving everybody what they want out of the club. Can you tell us about your day on the water, though? Because I passed you en route to where, I was going. Well, I probably should have stopped where you went. But because rumor has it that's where like 2/3 of, the top 3 caught their bag. So, what was it like fishing on this past Sunday?
I mean, the bites were few and far between, I will say that. But I mean, honestly, that spot is a spot that's the spot I caught my first ever fish on the Potomac. So I always go to that spot every time I fish there because it just has like, to me, it has that spot. It's like my spot. I pretty much if I catch a fish there, I tend to stay there. Even when we had the 2-day event, I fished there both days, and I think on that weekend I caught 20-something fish in that spot. So I don't know too many other spots that I can confidently say I can catch fish or that hold fish. So I went there. First thing in the morning, I started throwing a crankbait, and because that's what I had luck on there in the past event. Wasn't doing anything, and then I pulled out a swim jig that Charlie actually gave me that morning at the ramp. He helped me put some hooks on. He helped me put some hooks on one of the mech crankbaits I had. So I gave him one of the new mech crankbaits, and I guess that was his way of returning the favor. I'm not sure. I was like, all right, and tied it on. And I think it was 6:15 maybe or so. I was like, I went up real shallow and was just pitching some wood, like flipping the swim jig around some wood, and first fish was 19 1/4. About 15 minutes after that, pretty much same spot, real shallow, pulled I think it was 16, and then it was nothing until about after 11. I pretty much tried everything after that, and then I just started pretty much dead sticking the swim jig. I would just cast it out, and I'd let it sit, and then I'd pick it up and move it, or I'd pick it up and pop it, and I caught 2 like that. And then I caught 1 on a crankbait, so that gave me my 5. And then caught 1 more on the swim jig, which didn't do anything. And then in the last hour, I caught 2 more doing the same thing, just dead sticking the swim jig, and that gave me another 1 1/4 and called my 2 smallest. And I honestly didn't leave the spot all day. Pretty much fished the same wood.
Dead sticking a swim jig is not a technique that I was familiar with prior to. It
wasn't for me either.
I mean, how did you figure that out? That if you just soak a swim jig, like why not throw a flipping jig? Like what do you think it was about the swim jig?
I don't know if it was the color combination, the trailer. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I had 1 trailer, and that was the trailer that was on it, and I made it last all day. I should go grab the swim jig from my truck because the trailer is pretty funny. It's like mangled. It's missing one of the claws and everything. So, but the reason how I found out they were biting it like that is when I caught the 3rd and 4th one, I had just casted it out and was just letting it sit, and then I would like slowly bring it up and it would get bit. And then the last 2 or 3, I just happened to be like not even paying attention. I cast it out and was just kind of sitting there like talking to my dad, or just I had checked my phone, and both times I picked my rod up and had one. Actually, right when you went by me, I had caught one. I had cast out, I was talking to you, and it was just sitting in the water. And I picked my rod up, and they were just sitting on it.
Okay, I got to ask you a question. All right. How was it You saw Evan Marcel out there.
Yes.
How was it watching this dude with the motor on the back of Earlene? Because I have not seen that visual yet. Was he
considering he was
booking
sitting on his
was he
sweatshirt.
booking down the river, or was he just?
Oh, he was moving. I think he came by. You said you were doing 4.9.
4.9 against the current.
I mean, you're moving. No seat, no nothing.
Yeah, that
Was
was
he
a tough
doing
day.
donuts out there?
Yeah.
Well, my steering, Kyle actually helped me out because my steering was a little. I gotta trim that out. But he at least got me functional. So no donuts yet, but they're coming. Early loves
Cal,
donuts.
Cal, what size jig were you throwing? If you don't mind, sharing.
That'd be a good question for Charlie. I honestly think it was like probably a quarter, maybe 5/16.
Really?
It wasn't. I don't know. I don't think it was 3/8. I'm pretty sure it was smaller than 3/8. So that would be my guess. I honestly don't know. I didn't ask any questions when he handed it to me. I just thanked him 15 times and tied it on, and then thanked him another 15 times after. So
Evan, don't you love how they're just murky with their answers? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what weight that was. It could have been a quarter ounce.
I do know it had a little Strike King.
Not sure.
Say it's the little Rage Crawl, like the smaller one though. I think that was the trailer.
Okay.
And that was I think it's that summer crawl color or something.
He can't give us everything. At some point, those fishermen,
he can't give up all the juice.
They've got to do something.
You guys know the spot, I'm pretty sure. So I'll give you that.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I was throwing. I was throwing a swim jig too, a 1/2 ounce Strike King with a Rage Crawl trailer on the back. I mean, that's the only thing you can drag through the grass. To come back clean. If you just jerked it, it would free itself, get clean, and then you can swim it back.
Hey, Kyle, you're kind of becoming, if not already, a tackle junkie. And I see, you have your arsenal back behind you. What rod were you using? What rod reel combo were you using for that swim jig setup?
So typically I throw it on a cash and worm and jig rod, but I had a shaky head tied on it. I didn't feel like taking it off, so I threw it on a St. Croix Mojo Bass. I think it was 7-1 medium heavy fast, I think, with a Corrado DC 7-gear ratio.
Okay.
Oh, that's a tough setup right there.
Yeah. And Kyle, what's your Instagram as well? Because I think folks should definitely be following you.
It is at Catching with Kyle. I don't know can we type it anywhere in here? Can I type it? Will they see that? I don't know if it'll come up.
Can you join the chat?
I'm in the chat, but it says private. Can I do comment? I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to connect with YouTube.
Oh, okay,
I got you covered.
Or I can just show it. Maybe I can just show it.
That works too.
Jesse Ketchum called you Young Tom Mansour.
Let's see if it'll focus. There we are, right there. It'll focus.
Oh, there it is. Let me correct that.
And it's got dot, so it's catching dot with dot Kyle. I don't know why it's so blurry.
And yeah, those who are watching, anybody have any questions for Kyle while we have him on here? Because he's clearly doing a lot of the right things.
Kyle, you started off the season with a bang. I mean, you the first event you had a 3rd place. I think I see it behind you. You got a 3rd place.
Yeah, they're both behind me.
First event. Was that your first ever kayak tournament?
First ever. I've only been kayak fishing for like a year.
Wow.
I've only been fishing for like 2.5 years. I haven't been fishing for very long.
Can you clarify that? Like when you say you've just been fishing for like 2 or so years, like
so where I live, I had been here for like 2 years, and then one of my neighbors was like, "You guys want to go walk to this pond?" To like me and my fiance, we were like, "Sure." We like go walk around this pond, and I called my dad. I fished as a kid, but like obviously like more catching trees and things you don't want to catch. Yeah. And I asked my dad if I could borrow a rod because I'd seen people fishing, and I went up there and was using a Berkeley power worm. Actually, they're like right back there somewhere. And I caught a fish and I was like, "Oh, that was fun." So I kept going back and going back and going back. And I pretty much fished the same pond for like 6 months just catching fish, and then kind of got hooked onto it and did more pond hopping. And then I was like kind of watching a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of Greg Blanchard. I was like, this kayak stuff looks fun. So I bought a kayak, and then kind of just fished Depot, which Evan, and then was like, my dad got one, so we hit the Potomac a few times last year, and that was pretty much it. I kind of just got hooked on it from pond fishing.
Gotcha. Yeah, between the Potomac
do you have a motor?
I have a motor. I just have to get my battery. I got an NK300.
So you're doing all this. You're collecting all this hardware with no motor. Is that right?
Just pedal drive. Yep, just pedals.
You are the motor.
Yes.
That's even more awesome.
It really is. So, I mean, how far from the ramp are you going out if you're pedaling? Or,
So Upper Bay, I honestly don't know a lot out there. I mean, where you saw me the first event, I think, or that's pretty much the only spot I've ever fished there.
Okay.
So I don't go very far. And then, honestly, where we were the other day, I don't really go. I've gone past there, but I don't go very far.
I mean, to me,
go ahead.
Nothing. That just speaks volumes to folks who may see not having a motor as an excuse or a reason to not fish tournaments. Like,
yeah, I mean, me personally, I mean, yeah, you can get to spots faster, and I'm sure there's better spots you can get to, but you can definitely catch fish without a motor, without electronics. I mean, I have electronics on my kayak, and I think last weekend I may have looked at it twice. So, I mean, you can definitely do it with the basics, that's for sure.
Yeah, Evan is a testament to that too. When I met him, He didn't have a motor. He had the paddle, and I mean, he was doing his thing. I mean, he was out there hanging out in the AOI race pretty tight. So, and he was doing it. What was so impressive, he was doing it without a motor, and that's always impressive to me.
I think
so. Kyle, what would? No, go ahead, Evan.
There's some quote, I was going to butcher it. It's like necessity breeds creativity or something like that. But when you may not have all of the resources, for me, it made me really look into map study, and it made me really think about the bass migration and the behavior patterns even more, because I knew I wasn't going to paddle more than like 3 to 5 miles from the ramp. Even then, I mean, paddling 3 miles, just catching a fish while paddling is a chore, because you don't want to get pulled into a tree. So you have to back paddle while reeling, while maintaining tension. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's I don't know how you do that. I'll just pedal backwards.
You can get it done. Go ahead, Kyle.
I wanted to ask Kyle, what do you think the key is to your success so far this season?
Probably just not leaving a spot once I found fish. I think Greg Blanchard says it in some of his videos, like never leave fish to find fish. And I'm like I live by that. Obviously if you catch one, you don't catch any 3 hours later, maybe move, but I tend to stay in the same spot or in the general area and try to establish a pattern and try to just stick with that pattern. I've done that with, every event so far, honestly.
Well, it has served you well, and you're sitting in second place for the AOI points race, if I recall.
Yes. I think I'm 8 points from behind Josh
Evans. And Josh Evans and you, I remember you guys had a memorable exchange on the group page months ago. And do you remember that, Evan?
Josh,
Cal, do you remember, Cal?
I think maybe though.
You were flexing with some fish that you had caught, and you were saying how you were ready for the tournament. And
yes,
Josh chimed in and was trying to get you to basically slow your brakes because he's the man. And you was like, nope, it's a new sheriff in town. And so far, this season is pretty much boring out that way, where you guys have pretty much been at it since tournament one.
It's definitely been pretty cool. I mean, Josh is he's in there with the whole kayak tournament thing. So to be right there and is pretty cool. To after only my first year doing this, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you got a fan base.
Yeah. What's it like fishing with your dad, man? That's got to be kind of cool, I imagine.
It is. It has its ups and downs. I mean, sometimes I feel a little bad sometimes when I'm ripping him out of the water and he's throwing the same thing and nothing's happening. I'm like that. Like, honestly, actually, almost every event, like if I'm on him, I'll like move out of the way and let him come over and just throw in the same area just so he can get some fish on the board. So it's pretty cool. It is cool. So when we kind of find something, it's we help each other out.
That is a really special thing you guys got going on, and I think you guys have perfect attendance so far this year.
Right? As long as everything goes right, I'm game for all of them. So
that's awesome.
What could go wrong,
Kyle? Hopefully nothing. A baby bacon in the oven. Not literally, but
a future angler.
Future angler, yes.
That's what's up. Listen, man, you have our full support as well.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, Kyle, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you sharing some of the insights and tips tonight of how you accomplished second place on the Potomac River. I think you're an amazing on-the-rise angler and sort of under the radar. I think you're sort of a dark horse for AOI. Quiet as kept. I know Nate Hall jumped out there, but Mr. Consistency right here is starting to make some noise. So he's putting a little heat on Josh Evans, and it's pretty tight up there in the leaderboard.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you guys fishing with us.
Now that you fished 5 events, every event after this, whatever your lowest score is, gets dropped. So, make sure you guys look out for that when you're looking at the AOI standings. Whatever's in red is lower than your top 5s, your top 5 altogether. Or whatever's in red is lower than your lowest top 5 event, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how we have it set up. But,
and I do like the way how you guys do that. It's really easy to look at too. I remember, I think in the last, maybe one of the podcasts recently, you guys had asked how the website and everything is. I will say your guys is really, really easy to understand. And like when you're on the website, everything is just right there. It's super easy to follow and look at. So no, you guys want to know that. At least I think it is.
I appreciate it. I just do what Carl tells me.
No, that's all Evan. That's all Evan. Hey, before we let you go, Kyle, anyone you want to shout out, sponsors, anybody?
I wish. Shout out to Charlie for giving me that swim jig. I won't lie. I'll definitely give him a shout out to that. And my dad. Shout out to my dad if he's watching. And to you guys. You guys are the. Honestly, I'm not sure I'd even competed in anything this year if you guys didn't start this. So you guys have made me, like, just the way you guys have done it has made me, like, it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be to actually, like, get involved with everything. At least now I see that. So I do. And you guys fish the 2 bodies of water that I like fishing. So
that means a lot. That means a lot, man. You're the epitome of CRM right now, So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, Kyle. Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
All right. So that was pretty interesting. Sorry if I brought you on a little earlier than what you were ready for.
No worries. I just got back from the pond, and my son was like, feed me. So I had to whip up the bottle real quick. But
hey,
I'm just blown away at the fact that Charlie and Kyle pretty much placed in the top 2 off the same lure.
I wish I would have got to the ramp earlier. Maybe I would have got a copy of this lure. I don't know what it was, but I'm dying to know. You ready to find out?
I'm hoping so, because right now they're the only two people who even knows what it looks like.
Well, without further ado, let's bring in the champion from trail stop number 5 for Chesapeake Rail Masters, none other than Charlie Russler.
Out of West
Charlie.
Virginia.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the big win. How you feeling today?
I'm wore out. It's been a rough 2 weeks at work, but
Yeah.
no, I'm feeling good about the fishing.
And I actually have another trophy for you. I forgot to bring the other trophy that the winner gets. So if you come out to I don't know if you can make it out to the Upper Bay, I'll have that for you.
Unfortunately, the next one I will be at will probably be June 30th.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
That's Midsummer Madness. Okay.
That does sound like Midsummer Madness.
Yeah.
I'll be in Florida doing some saltwater fishing with the family, visiting family for the next Potomac. And I believe the Saturday one for the next June tournament, I'll have to work. So next one will probably be that Sunday. I think it's June 30th.
All right. Well, I've been dying to ask you this because I don't think we had the pleasure of meeting before the award ceremony. But word on the street is you're from West Virginia.
Yes, sir.
That's the word on the street. And I'm trying to figure out if there's a tidal body of water in West Virginia that you're practicing on that we don't know about.
No, there's no tidal water in West Virginia, but the Potomac River is my home water.
Okay.
I actually fished the boat tournaments for a long time and did pretty well on the lower Potomac, tidal Potomac, and slowed down on the tournament scene, I guess around 11 or 12, somewhere in that area. The kids got older and they were starting to play some sports, so I wanted to be home more. So I laid off the bigger tournaments and went back to the old bass club and just fished local stuff. And took a new job 3 years ago, still with the schools here. And it took a lot more time. And last year, I think I went fishing 5 times.
Wow.
And this year, I always wanted to get a kayak and get into the kayak tournaments as well. Float trips and things are kind of my favorite way to fish. So I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I decided finally bought a kayak and said, I'm going to force myself to fish and enter these things. It's a pretty cheap way to fish. It's a lot of fun. Everybody I've met so far has been great.
That's awesome. And what kayak are you running this year?
Right now I'm running the Old Town PDL 120.
Okay. Is that the one, familiarize me, is that the one with the motor or is that the one with the pedals?
It's the one with the pedals.
Okay.
Oh,
So you're another one with no motor. No motor?
Actually, I got with you guys, I met you guys, well, I saw you guys, I guess I should say, at the first MAKBF tournament. And I made a mistake of not getting in your guys' tournament on that one because I was new to it. I just wanted to kind of lay low and just fish one and take it easy to start. And then I learned after, I guess, the first 3 that we teamed up with you guys on, I probably ought to be paying my entry fee for you guys too. So anyway, I purchased NK300 as well. I did have that on in the last tournament.
Okay. Awesome. Man, I knew you had to be a stick or a hammer from somewhere, bass boats or something, because I'm like, you just don't come from West Virginia and then come to the Potomac and just fish like that. But I can't really say that because Nate Hall came from Pittsburgh, right? And he came down here and he dominated on the Potomac. I mean, he won like 3 in a row. So maybe what is it that you see about the Potomac that maybe other guys are missing? What is it? You don't have to give up all your juice, but what is it that you're seeing?
When I first started fishing the tidal Potomac, I hated the place.
Yeah.
Back then there was a lot more grass, and it just seemed like everything was grass. And how do you find the fish in that?
Yeah.
And over the course of a few years, I started learning some things and learned how to fish it. And it's my favorite body of water now.
Wow. It's that simple. It's just time on the water.
Pretty much. Time in the water, getting to see, getting to fish with a few other guys. I fished as a non-boater up until 2009, and I won a Ranger in the 2009 regional on the Potomac. Stepped up to the boater side the year after. So it helps to see some other guys break it down and see how their thought processes go and put it together with how you fish, and things just kind of come together and you learn how to fish it.
Now, how would you rate being a boater, a bass boat fisherman versus a kayak fisherman? What are some of the things you like or that are different that you like about kayak or maybe dislike about it?
I'm still learning the kayak. That's my biggest deficiency right now is learning. I've been playing it safe so far. I don't know where to go so much because I'm used to being able to jump up and run somewhere else if it doesn't work. So I've been playing it safe and going to places I know I can go catch fish and just, milking it out for everything they got. And that's how I've been approaching it so far. But that's the biggest difference I see. Other than that, I don't approach it any differently. Just being limited on how much water I can cover.
That's awesome because I feel like with a kayak you have to be more thorough, with an area, like really fish it, like there's something there. Whereas if you're on a boat, you can just pull up the trolling motor, turn on the big motor, and run across to the Virginia side or north or south or whatever,
right,
and fish whole new bodies of water. Where in a kayak you really can't get up and run like that.
Yeah, I've had days on the Potomac where I fished from the Woodrow Wilson Bridge all the way to Potomac Creek. So, yeah, it's being limited is what I'm trying to figure out right now, and pick decent areas where I know I can catch fish and really just milking that area for everything it's got.
Evan?
I mean, I want to ask the question that I think everybody's curious about. There's a rumor that you have these highly advanced, extremely rare, world-renowned swim jigs, and that you were giving them away as gifts to other anglers at the boat ramp who also placed. Charlie, you don't have to tell us the swim jig, right? But is that one of your favorite lures? Was it a certain color? Were you and Kyle throwing the same exact bait? What's it about this swim jig, man?
It's designed for grass. Of course, I wasn't fishing grass is the funny thing. Neither was Kyle, but it's designed for grass. It's not designed for the wood. It just happened we were fishing wood. It'll work in wood, but it does hang up quite a bit. It has a real light weed guard. I'll give you the swim jig. I'll hold back on the colors, but I'll give you the swim jig.
The swim jig is just it's like the multi-tool. It's a Swiss Army knife of lures. I mean, you can throw it up in wood, grass, rock, pads.
Right. And you don't have to swim it. You can fish it like a regular jig, or you can swim it. And that's why I like the swim jig, is because when I want to swim it through the grass, it's designed to do that.
Yeah. Horizontal line tie.
Yeah.
Vertical line tie. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me go full screen.
And when they bite it, they really bite it. They don't mess around.
I'll be honest. It's kind of it's almost like a Texas rig bite a lot of times.
Yeah.
Well, now let me elaborate. There's kind of two major ways to fish a swim jig. There's the Alabama way, and then for better, all intents and purposes, I'll call it the Potomac way. Back in the BFL days when I fished those, I fished a lot against Brian Schmidt, and he's known for the swim jig.
Yeah.
And up here in the grass, we fish it kind of slow. We're kind of throwing it out there, coming across the top of the grass or through the grass, trying to feel everything that's down there. And when it starts to grab, you pop it and then you stop it. And that a lot of times that's when you get a bite. So that being said, the biggest fish I caught I happened to be fishing at the Alabama way because the tide was out and there wasn't much water over that wood, and I was trying to keep it from getting hung up.
Okay.
Now hold on, I missed that. The Alabama way, is that?
The Alabama
Say
way.
that again.
Yeah, the Alabama way is typically you keep it up high in the water column and you're constantly shaking the rod, keeping it up. And just
Okay.
often,
Yeah.
as you swim
Yeah.
it, just keeping it up.
Gotcha.
The
Gotcha.
way is kind of keep it down in the stuff and kind of feel what you're coming through.
Yeah, I've seen Kevin Van Dam and Mark Daniels Jr. use that technique where they're just reeling it back and shaking the rod tip.
Right.
That just seems
Those
like
guys-
my wrist is gonna hurt. Doing that all day.
Yeah, that's what Jesse's saying. Fishing at the Alabama way will have your arms burning at the end of the day.
You come back to the ramp swole.
Right? At least one arm will be.
Will. Anyway, it's a Dave's tournament tackle, and it's 1/4 ounce.
Oh
This
no!
is-
Don't give up now. No, not the
Why? Why?
anything but Dave's tournament tackle, man.
Why? What's wrong with
I love
that?
that stuff too. I love that stuff too, man. That's what I use.
Let's add into the sponsor.
I
list.
saw it. I immediately knew what it was. I didn't say a word.
Well, I told you I'd give you the jig. I told you I wouldn't give you the color. I wasn't throwing the same color that Kyle was.
PK?
Was that?
Was it the PK?
PK. No, it wasn't PK.
Okay. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it looks like we got
Jesse,
a very
Jesse
special
said,
person.
No, I guess Jesse knew about it too.
No, that's awesome, man. I'm messing with you, but it looks like we got a very special guest that's watching you. I think you got a fan. Her name is Sherry.
Yes, my wife.
She said,
That's
"There's
awesome.
my hubby."
She might want to be careful because I have some jokes if she wants to start some stuff.
Uh-oh. I love a good
That's
joke.
awesome.
But it had.
So tell us about your day. Like, how did it start? The adversity you went through, successes, fish you caught.
Well, I was fishing an area, pretty much a stretch of bank that had stumps for a good probably 200 yards, maybe somewhere in that area. And I was started on one end of it, fish it out. The first pass, I caught 2 fish. Got hung up a lot. I think I'd have caught more, but I kept getting hung up and had to go get the jig. So I was kind of messing up a lot of my water. I was having trouble finding that right retrieve to keep it up just enough not to hang up. And right when I got to the end of the stretch, a gambler bass boat came in, squatted in the rear end, blowing everything out right to that bank. What I like to do is I like to fish the bank out one way, then circle all the way around, pitch some pads on my way back to where I started to give all the area a good rest, and then start back there. And he went right to it. So I pitched pads for the next probably 2 or 3 hours and caught 1 fish. No, I did catch one on the swim jig when I turned to make the loop in the pads. I did catch one on the swim jig there, so I had my 3rd fish. Fished the pads for another probably 2 hours, 3 hours, and caught 1 more pitching. And then went for probably another hour and nothing. So the guy in the bass boat was still fishing the bank. So I just went in kind of behind him and started back on the bank again. And it probably wasn't 10 minutes when I started back on the bank with the tide out. Usually I don't fish it on a lower tide, but there is some stumps and stuff that come out a little farther. So I ended up busting at 18 1/4 real shortly after I got back to the bank. And then I think I caught 3 more fish the rest of the day. I only caught 8 fish, but the first 5 was the 5 I left on the card.
Hey, that's all it took.
So you think it was a covered thing, or was it an area thing? Because you mentioned the stumps. What you think
It's typically that area. It's usually just the area. And usually, like I said, I'll fish that wood on the bank early, or well, not necessarily early, when the tide's in on a high tide. And then when the tide pulls out, typically I can just pitch the pads and catch them. But that wasn't the deal on Sunday.
Okay.
Now, did you find around 11:30ish the bite started to pick up again?
I don't think the bite ever picked up for me. I never had a period of time where it was like a flurry of fish or anything. It was just one here and there.
Yeah.
So
But it did seem like there was a definite lull. And then there was a point later in the day where they did start biting again.
Yeah.
But like I said,
Yeah,
never had a flurry.
That's what I experienced. I changed areas completely because I got 2 in the morning and then I didn't get anything and I left. I knew the tide was going to change, start to come back in or go out. I can't remember, but I knew it was about to change over again. And right around 11:30, when it started to change in that time frame, that's when I started to get bit again. But it didn't last long. I got like 2 fish and then that was it.
Charlie, you gave a phenomenal tip or tactic on how you cover water. And I was going to just kind of let it slide, but for those who might be new to fishing tidal fisheries, fishing one side and then coming back the other is a great way of covering a ton of water very efficiently. But are you floating in fishing against or casting into the current on the way back? Or how do you typically approach that?
It's kind of a big flat there. The current really doesn't run down the bank or anything. There's movement, but it's not really a certain direction or anything.
Okay. That's good to know.
I'm far enough off that channel. It's just kind of coming up and down and going in and out. It's not really a flow so much.
Okay.
Not a ton of current.
That's good to know.
But if there is current, I'm going to fish. I'm going to throw up current and retrieve with the current.
Makes sense.
That's something I had to learn. It took me a while to learn that too. How to fish position. Like if you throw it up current and bring it back to you, your odds are a little bit better.
Right.
Because they're pointed towards the lure rather than running it from behind them.
Right.
A lot of times, yeah. Because you can tell when the tide is coming in and coming out, because the grass will tell you. I mean, if the grass is pointed towards the mouth of the creek, that means the tide is going out. And if it's pointed back into the creek, that means the tide is coming in. That's a little tip there for all you guys. It's a good one.
That indeed.
So Charlie, what would you say would be the key to your success so far this year?
I mean, the bodies of water that I've fished, I have a pretty good knowledge of it, other than the Conowingo. I've fished the bay a good bit. Well, I think we've only hit the bay and the Potomac and the Conowingo so far that I've fished out of a kayak.
Yeah, I was up there for the MAKBF on the Conowingo. I love the Conowingo. It's one of my favorites.
That was my first time on the Conowingo. I fished the Susquehanna a good bit, but never been on the Conowingo until that weekend.
Okay. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I didn't look at the standings. How did you do? Just out of curiosity, was it an okay tournament for you?
On the Conowingo,
21st,
I believe.
Okay.
Which I was tickled to death with, because I was planning on practicing on the bay because I thought the Conowingo would be easier to figure out. Well, I showed up on Friday morning and there was like 3-footers coming into Havre Grace, and I said, no. Not doing.
My goodness.
So I went on up to Conowingo, where I planned on launching anyway, and went out, and I think I caught 4 fish, and one of them would have kept. So,
oh man,
yeah, it was tough. So I went back to the same ramp on the tournament day and buckled down and went to the area where I caught the fish and kind of just expanded on it. And I probably caught 5 limits, but no size, just no length to them.
Yeah,
So,
Conowingo is one of those places. Like if you run into them, you run into them. But like if you're not on them, you're not on them.
Right.
That's the Conowingo.
so, I mean, Charlie, from what I'm hearing, it's my second time meeting you. You sound like a very experienced angler. For those days when it is tough, what's your process? Do you immediately go finesse? Is it more so just trusting your gut and your experience? Like, what do you do when the bite's a little slow?
A lot of experimenting to see what it's going to take. I'm naturally a really slow fish. I fish really slow. That's just how I feel comfortable fishing. I've had guys in the boat with me say, I don't know how you do that. There's no way that they could fish like that. But there's a thought process to pretty much everything I do. But I do fish pretty slow. So my biggest thing is, and this is when it's tough or when it's crowded or kind of any time, is look for something different that'll get you the bites that the other people aren't getting. Which I think comes from fishing the Potomac so much, is because you end up in a crowd of 40 boats.
Yeah.
Everybody's catching fish, but not everybody's catching the right fish.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's something just a little bit different that'll get you the right fish.
And fishing slow is a mindset. It really is. I mean, you have to have that mindset that I'm going to catch 5. It might be only 5 all day, but they're going to be the right 5. Because usually when you fish slow, you do pick up big fish. It's just, I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, that's a mindset. And it's hard for me to slow down sometimes. I used to have that mindset when I was doing more co-angling, but it's hard for me to stop chucking and winding in a tournament, like a kayak tournament, especially when I'm going down the bank or something. It's hard for me to just slow down and just soak a bait. It really is. And that's probably my downfall. But it is a mindset. And when you're tuned in like that and you start catching them, you become dangerous. And
Well,
obviously you caught fire.
I think a lot of that comes from fishing the co-angler side, is in the boating side. I think a lot of that stuff, finding the different things to catch the better fish, finding the different things to catch fish when nobody else is, stuff like that. I think it came from fishing the co-angler side.
Did you find yourself throwing something different than the boater during tournaments?
Not always, but a lot of times, yeah, I would try a lot of different things to see what would happen. But if it got to the point where he was catching them and I wasn't, then we're going to throw the same thing.
Converting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think versatility is a huge thing. A lot of people talk about fishing what you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of tried to step outside of that and become versatile and be able to fish anything.
That's key. That is key. I mean, I've had days as a co-angler where I sat back and watched a boater win an event, and I caught maybe one fish. And I mean, he actually cut his lure off and gave it to me, and I still couldn't catch anything with it. Then he tied it back on and gave me the rod, and I still couldn't catch anything with it.
Yeah, I've been there and done that one.
When it's your day, it's your day.
Yeah.
So,
Charlie, when you say something a little bit different, do you lean towards, like, do you make your own tackle? Are you looking for, do you do a lot of, modifications? Are you a big fan of dye, like, or is it more so the technique that's a little different? Just for clarity.
I tinker. I don't make my own baits or anything. I build rods, but I don't make baits or anything. I tinker a little bit. I will paint a crankbait here and there. I do have a black crankbait that I fish on the Susquehanna. And it's honestly, it's very primitive. It's flat black spray paint from Walmart with flat clear.
Evan, did you catch that when he mentioned that crankbait? He started to smile. It was a crack. He just started to smile when he mentioned that crankbait.
I'm sure when he mentioned it, he probably thought about all the 20-inch smallmouth he's probably caught on.
I can see his brain. He was working overtime, man. All the fish he caught with that crankbait.
Oh, those were memories going through his eyes.
I can see it.
Yeah, good deal. So, I mean, Charlie, question, is grass your thing? I mean, of course, you fish diverse fisheries, but what is it about grass that you like? I guess that's most of the question.
What I like about the grass is it's an indication of a healthy fishery.
Mm-hmm.
It gives the bait fish a place to hide, and it supports more life. If you look at all the places where you catch bass that are heavy, thick, healthy fish, 99% of them are going to have grass in them.
That's a fact. I mean, your average fish is like 17 and a half or 17 and 3/4. And they were pretty much,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like replicas. Like,
yep.
It was amazing. It was just you put on a show.
The first two I caught, I think, were 17 and a quarter or something like that. And I was like, crap, did they look the same? I was making sure they didn't look the same in the picture.
Yeah.
Charlie, I got to get my eyes fixed. I think I need some glasses. I did not see the hardware sitting behind you.
Yeah,
it says first place. It's camouflage. It just blends right into the background. It looks good.
Thank you.
Fits. Definitely fits.
But you always kind enough to supply it. I wasn't going to not show it off.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Good deal. So, okay, well, it's good to know as well that you'll be fishing with us again in Midsummer Madness on the 30th of June, back on the Potomac.
I wish I could fish more. I wish I would have fished the first few, but I didn't. But like I said, I was new to the kayak side. I was just trying to force myself to fish more this year, and I wanted to take it slow. And now I've realized that I just need to throw my hat in the ring on all of them. I mean, honestly, your trail is probably where I belong as far as the bodies of water. I went with MAKBF because of the diversity of fisheries and the history they had.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
MAKBF, those are some go ahead. Solid guys.
No, now I'm going to fish your guys' stuff as well.
We appreciate it. MAKBF is where I started. I was fishing a BFL event and I got bumped. I'm sure you know all about that on the wait list. And I decided, I was going to fish that weekend no matter what. And I had a kayak and I said, let me see if they have a kayak tournament. And I've told this story before, but, I found them on a Friday and fished on a Saturday. Didn't do anything during the tournament. I mean, I did everything wrong, but it was easy to get into. I really, really enjoyed that. And we try to incorporate that with CRM, is try to make it easy for guys to register and to sign up and get into an event. So with that being said, what advice would you give to any angler, particularly new anglers that are looking to get into kayak fishing, but might be a little bit hesitant, might be a little bit intimidated? What kind of advice would you give them?
The first thing is read the rules. I see a lot of people make that mistake, not knowing what the rules are. There was something that happened in the first MAKBF. Very, very easy to correct, and they just didn't read the rules or pay attention or something. Secondly, reach out to somebody. I mean, everybody's got Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Reach out to somebody that kayak fishes and ask them, because it's a great group of guys. I haven't met anybody that isn't willing to share things. So reach out to somebody and ask for advice.
Awesome. Awesome advice. Awesome advice. We thank you for your time today, Charlie. We know you're busy, man. Thanks for coming on with us. And we hope to see you. We hope to see you soon in the future. Midsummer Madness, I think June 30th. You're going to be out there. It's the 29th and the 30th. We're going to have this belt on display. We're going to have this bad boy on display right here. I don't know. I don't think we showcased this thing, but
that looks heavy.
It's about 6 pounds, man. Yeah, it's about 6 pounds. So, yeah.
I mean,
whoever wins it, man, you get some bragging rights at Thanksgiving. You get to carry this thing in there.
Oh my goodness. There's still time for Charlie to win the belt as well, right? Like, we got 5 tournaments left, 5 or 6 tournaments left.
How many have you fished so far, Charlie?
Just this one so far. So I think I'm out. Without being able to fish the next 2, I don't think I have a shot at anything else. But maybe a big fish.
Big fish.
Charlie, we're gonna correct that, because that's part of the reason why we're having this live stream tonight. We're gonna have some new ways where you can get into the battle of the best, and one of them will be all the winners are automatically in.
Okay.
All the winners of the tournaments are automatically in battle of the best. It only makes sense. So you're in, buddy.
Sounds good.
You're in.
He's in the dance.
All right, we appreciate you, man. We look forward to seeing you out on the water soon.
Yep, June 30th, you should see me.
Sounds good.
All right. I know you're going to bring it. We'll see you then, buddy. Oh, what you got?
Miss Russler just shared that Charlie's birthday is on June 28th. Charlie, we will have cake at awards for you. All right. Do you like nothing but cakes? It's my personal favorite. It's a delicacy.
Actually, I've quit eating sugar.
Man, I'll bring. Do you have a favorite fruit? Like, do you like pineapple? Like, does that count?
But yeah, it's funny because pineapple is my favorite fruit. I just found out about a year or two ago I'm allergic to it.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah, I ate a pineapple pizza and woke up with my throat nearly swollen shut.
Whoa.
What about donuts?
No, that's sugar. He doesn't eat sugar.
Oh. We'll figure something out, Charlie.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
It's no problem.
We gotta do something special. Definitely. Man, it's a pleasure to have you on, though. I feel like you're a wealth of knowledge. You shared a lot of wisdom. And I feel like this won't be the last time we have you on the script.
I think we should have you on again, Charlie, to share some secrets with swim jigs. And maybe crankbaits. I don't know. But I think, we should do something in the future.
Sounds good. Just let me know.
Sweet.
All right. Well, man, we appreciate you.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Charlie Russler.
He's the man.
He's one of 4 winners, right? Who all of our winners so far have been from outside of the state of Maryland. That to me is just mind-boggling, right? We started off with Mickey. Mickey's from Pennsylvania. Then we had the hat trick from Nate Hall, also from Pennsylvania. And then Charlie's from West Virginia. Like, will the next tournament be won by someone from Maryland?
The fish they don't care where you're from. They don't care how many times you fish the Potomac or the Upper Bay. It's can you catch them that day? That's all that matters. And Charlie had the right stuff. Kyle had the right stuff. Nick had the right stuff, especially walking away with big bass and leading big bass of the year. He finished 3rd place. He couldn't make it tonight. Shout out to Nick Maiers. 21 inches. I thought that would be broken on the Upper Bay. It could be. It still could be broken on. Somebody's going to come in with a 21 and a half, a 21 and a quarter, a 22. They might just blow it out the gym and just hit a 23, 24.
Plenty of time to do it. There's plenty of time to do it. I mean, the trip we fished the trail last year. Big bass was caught in the last tournament before the tournament champions. So you only find out by continuing to cast, continuing to fish.
You fish around and
you find out.
You're gonna find out.
It's a great correlation. The more you fish around, the more you find out, man. I love it.
That's it. And speaking of fishing around, we got an announcement to make, right? You want to take it away?
I would love to. I'll set it up. I'll toss you the alley-oop, and then you can hit him with the slam dunk. It's like Anthony Edwards to Karl Anthony Towns. All right, so I'll set it up. The storyteller in me is coming out. We're here to grow the sport of kayak bass fishing. And the only way that you can grow the sport is by increasing time on the water, increasing opportunities to compete, and increasing, essentially payouts and increasing the amount of community feedback and engagement that we get. We've noticed that there's been demand and interest in being able to fish outside of tournament weekends. And we're listening. We have our ears to the ground. And what we've decided to do, starting in June, Carl is going to tell you about.
starting in June, and this is still a work in progress. We're going to start an online tournament trail. It's going to be once a month. We're going to have one for June. We're going to have one for July. We're going to have one for August. And the 3 winners of those events, are we set yet? Are they going to get access to Battle of the Best?
That's it.
So the three winners of the June tournament, it's all month long. The July tournament and the August tournament, the 3 winners will get automatic access into Battle of the Best, which comes up September 7th and 8th, and they get a chance to win this bad boy right here. So that's a 2-day tournament. It's one tournament, but it's 2 days. So we're really going to see who's the baddest out there.
Yeah, and listen,
And
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it's going to be on the Potomac River. That's the Easter egg right there. It's right here on the belt. I don't know if you guys caught on to that, because like in Tourney X, there's no location for Battle of the Best, but it's going to be on the Potomac River. Easter egg.
Indeed. And hey, you guys know I'm a big Greg Blanchard fan. Greg's my guy. He's actually the first influencer who sent me a box of baits. But we just saw Greg caught a bag. He caught over 100 inches in his last tournament. It was a 2-day. And he caught him the second day, but he didn't catch him like he did the first day. And he didn't cash a check, which isn't like Greg. But you got to be consistent to win Battle of the Best. Battle of the Best is really coming down to, I feel like whoever wins that could win Angler of the Year if they fished enough tournaments. I'm just excited to see who comes out on top. You know, we're going to announce AOY at the end of that. We're going to declare the big fish winner. Right now, the big fish came out of the Potomac as well. Will it be tops? It's going to be a phenomenal time. And you know,
are you going to fish it? Are you fishing
Battle of the Best?
Yeah,
I'm more so. I thought I was going to smoke a brisket. To be quite honest. I would hate to be out on the water and potentially, you know, grab a fish or two that somebody else could have caught. Like, I'm not competing for AOY. I'm not competing for big fish. You know, we already discussed, like, whatever, if we were to win a tournament, we give a percentage back to the club. Like, we're here just to grow the sport.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. We're taking ourselves out of eligibility for all the prizes. Big bass, even though I do pay into it, big bass of the year, we're taking ourselves out of consideration for that. Big bass during the tournament, that's game on. Okay. But if we do catch the big bass, that's going to be an asterisk next to it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because we're taking ourselves out of the running for AOY, all that stuff. We're saving that for you guys, the members. But we do like to get out there and mix it up with you and see if we can compete with these hammers out here and try to run a tournament trail at the same time. It's a lot. So I don't know if you can see the comment section, because I barely notice it sometimes. But if there's some questions in there.
Now, Jesse was chatting with us, just talking about how he's a little nervous about taking a dip, punching in the summer. You know, punching grass out of his kayak, so he's gonna wear swim trunks on those days. But not too much chatter. But
I'm not worried about Jesse Ketchum. Jesse Ketchum is a hammer. Okay, this guy, he had a stretch last year where he cut a check in every MLF event he entered as a co-angler. I mean, all year long, it was just him holding up fish, cashing checks. He had a run. So, I mean, he can fish. But when you come over to the kayak side of things, it's much different. Co-angling, I always tell my buddies, I said, co-angling is much easier than being a kayak bass fisherman, because you got to worry about boat positioning, casting, everything, you know, all the different variables. Plus, you can't move around and just run to a different part of the lake, you know, and fish whole new water. You got to really be strategic where you drop in and how you fish it. So It's definitely a learning curve to it versus co-angling. But when you go back to co-angling, I mean, it seems so easy, even though it's not, because you don't have to worry about carrying all the gear. You just got 5 rods, your baits, something to eat and drink. That's all you got to worry about.
Yeah.
And your shades. That's it. You know,
there's nothing like being the captain of your own vessel. You know,
nothing.
it's the best feeling in the world. Best feeling in the world.
And you live and die with your decisions. You know,
I lived and died with my decisions this past weekend. We all saw how that went. Now that was Erlene's maiden voyage with the new motor. She got her new hip, but I took a gamble and I found out. You know, I found out. I called a couple, but I knew
you started off with a bang. You had a 19.
I did. And that's what gave me the false hope of thinking that my master plan was going to pan out. But I knew going in, I thought I was either going to skunk, you know, or I was just going to be hard. Yeah.
Well, speaking of new hips and skunking and everything else, we're interested to hear from the members as far as input on how you think we should craft this new online tournament series that's going to be going on from June, July, August. I don't know if we're going to run it in September. I don't know. Maybe we can run something beyond Battle of the Best. So guys can get out there and still participate. But you know, we're looking to hear from you guys. If you guys got some comments, you know, you can hit us up on Messenger. You can email us. You can put a post out. But if you want to see some certain things that you want to voice your opinion on, whatever it is, as far as online tournaments, let us know. What do you got to say?
Do you all want it to be any fishery, you know, in the state of Maryland? Do you all want it to, do you want side pots? Do you all want, I don't know, a top water only tournament? I'm just throwing stuff out there, spitballing, seeing what sticks. But I'm definitely going to compete in the first one. I will be competing in the June online tournament. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think I'm going to jump in too. We got to figure out what we're going to do as far as price point, entry fees, and all that kind of stuff. But if you get it, I guess, you know, real quick, if you do sign up, you're going to have to be a member to actually fish it. But maybe we can have a different type of membership, or if you're just doing online only versus both, you know, maybe a reduced membership for the online series.
Yeah.
Because you know, you got to be fair to the guys that paid memberships and they're fishing in Battle of the Best, you know.
Kyle said a frog only tournament next year on the Potomac. I'm here for it. The amount of snakeheads caught like wild, but I'm here for it.
We could probably do something like that this year, like after Battle of the Best, we can probably do something online, frog only.
That'd be cool. That was my first ever hookup when it comes to bass fishing. I think I told that story on Thomas Aaron's Fishing the DMV channel. First ever bass that I hooked into was off a frog, and I was hooked ever since then.
It's a frog. That's your first bite. It's over for you, man. It's a wrap. You're hooked for life.
Yeah, I lost it at the bank, but you know, nobody told me how to set the hook on a frog. Anywho,
they always surprise you too.
Right. Kyle saying a purple worm was his first bite. That was my dad's too. He swears by that purple worm to this day. We go somewhere, he's got a purple worm. Oh yeah. Yeah. What was your first? You remember your first catch?
My first catch?
Mm-hmm.
My first catch in a tournament?
No, like just bass fishing.
I don't remember. I do remember my first catch in a tournament though. That's unforgettable. You know, it's when you're fun fishing, that's one thing. I forget about those fish. because they don't really mean anything. You take a photo, you know they're gone, you release them. But when you're fishing for money in a tournament, you remember that kind of stuff because you got the adrenaline flowing, and you just remember everything. It's like you have photogenic memory. My cousin, I fish a lot with him, Andre Wynn. He's a photographer of sorts. He takes a lot of photos. He has a lot of unreleased photos of just friends catching fish or whatever. And he released some photos of me for my birthday on Facebook. I don't even remember. I vaguely remember these photos, but I was there. I don't know why I don't remember these fish. But I remember every tournament fish though.
What was your first tournament fish?
I caught a 4.5. Right in Pomonkey. And
on the Potomac
Creek, on the Potomac, right by the dock, right in front of the dock. Yeah, on a 1/4 ounce trap.
Yeah.
Never forget it.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
So we got to wrap this thing up, man. We're a minute 12 in. So anything you want to say? Yeah, hour and 12. Yeah.
Just to bring it back to our sponsors, there'll be some content being released soon with Chris from Big Bass USA. Chris has like 140 boats, but it's not just boats. He has a lot of hardware. He has a lot of Yak Attack stuff. He sells Newport motors. Definitely check him out. I was just down there last week. Things starting to blur together, but a lot of our anglers have.
Russ was just down there. He just purchased a new Bonafide from Chris at Big Bass USA this week.
Justin Thompson just got an NK300. I want to say Nick Maiers is getting either a motor or a boat. Chris is the man. It's just I love where his heart is positioned. Let's see. Kyle's asking.
Oh, just a quick recap. If you are a member, not just a Facebook group member, but like you pay a paid membership to CRM, and you paid your membership, let's just say in January, you get 15% off at Big Bass USA. Okay. Now, everybody after that, if you paid in February on for your membership, you still get a discount, but it's 10% off. Okay. So, don't go there expecting 15% off and you didn't get your membership in January. Those guys in January got a special deal. They got a discount on the membership, plus they got an extra 5% off, which bumped them to 15% off because they were the very first ones to sign up with us before we even had a tournament. And their memberships is what allowed us to make maneuvers where we can get a $200 championship belt, and come to awards with snacks and drinks and make our own awards. That was the lifeblood that we needed to get things going. Now, me and Evan, we would have did it anyway, but those guys in the beginning, they're everybody's special to us, but those guys in the beginning, they I don't think they really get their due, and I don't think they really know how important a role they played in getting CRM off the ground. So we thank you and we salute you guys. We salute everybody that fishes with us and rocks with us. That's all I got, Evan. What you got, man?
Kyle asked if we're allowing the new Yak Attack leaderboards for measuring. I'm not familiar with them. Are you familiar with them? I'm guessing it's like maybe a new catch board or something like that. But it's made by Yak Attack. I'm looking it up.
I wouldn't mess with it. If you're measuring tournament fish, if it's not a catch board, I wouldn't touch it. But if you're just fun fishing, I mean, I have a hog trough that I never use.
Like I said, it's on Instagram, but it's not released yet. I think the industry standard is still catch only, and that'd be something we would have to do or consider for next season.
Yeah,
because the rules are already.
Have to take a look at it and see
I'm curious
how
to see
easy it would be
like.
to judge, with that kind of board. The reason why the catch board is better than the hog trough or anything else out there is because when you're trying to look at actual the length of the fish, it's hard sometimes if you don't have the lines going all the way across the board. You know, you have the halfway mark, 1.5, 15.5, 15. That stuff matters when you're trying to judge fish. So if you got a board like the hog trough where the lines are hard to see, the numbers are hard to see, there's too much vagueness, it's too hard to judge. But if they do come out with a board that's comparable to the catch board, where it's clean, it's easy, it makes catch photo release judging easier, I'm all for it. But for right now, catch is the standard, so we got to roll with that. What you got, Evan?
But I think that's. Oh, hey, okay. So for all members, you will receive an email, and then also there will be a link on the Facebook page for our sponsorship survey. We're entering sponsorship season, and this club is for y'all, right? Like, we're here to serve you all to the best of our ability, but we want to make sure that we're reaching out to sponsors who you all would be interested in purchasing products from or getting discounts from or whatever it may be, because the more people from the club who engage with those sponsors, the higher our ability is to retain those sponsors in the next season, and the better the discounts and cash prizes or whatever it may be will be. So we want to know who you all want us to target. We want to know what brands, or we want to know what types of products, you all be interested in, so that when we enter 2025, all this stuff starts now. Like around August, September, people are shutting down their sponsorship inquiries. That's kind of how we ended up in the position we're in. We started this in October. No sponsors really open to talking to many new clubs at that point. So we will make sure we stay on top of it, do our due diligence, and make sure you guys are set up. So we cover the analytics for everything. How many people fish every event. We're talking with our current sponsors to say, hey, how many people from the club are getting baits from you? Or, with Chris, how many boats are you selling through the club? And fortunately, you guys are amazing, and you utilize the sponsors that we do have, and they love it. We love it. And we want to do more of it. So when you see that go out, please respond. Please start thinking about it, so that we can target June, July, August with sponsors that you all be interested in. We don't want to end up getting like little gift bags and goodie bags of weird shaped hooks and stuff that y'all would never throw to give out at awards, because it's not going to help anybody. And that's basically it. So that's the only other thing for me.
We've been an hour and 19 minutes in, and I'm just learning how to post the captions underneath. I had no idea how to do that. Now I just figured it out.
Found out.
Crazy. All right, we're going to wrap it there, guys. Appreciate you. All the guys that stayed through to the end.
Cool.
Any last words, Evan?
Thank you all. Y'all are the club.
Thank you to all our members.
Heck
yeah.
Members,
Thank you.
Sponsors. Thank you. That's it.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you on the next episode.
Grab one of these hats.